What's up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. It's Thanksgiving week, and we've got plenty of members giving thanks for their big hits. Let's get to the winners. Our NHL content has been on fire lately. Nadesify led the way with his recent core helping him hit for over 1K. Mangone's core helped MComDog42 win 2K in NHL, and M. Levangie used the NHL playbook and premium Discord chat to ship for $20,000. In PGA, Alex used our free weekly PGA show to hit for 1K, while Jaywalkin shipped for $10,000. Just a reminder that a Run Pure Sports membership gets you all sports for one price, including our premium World Cup content. And for Thanksgiving week, we've got a special deal to get you on board. For a limited time only, sign up for a Run Pure Sports membership using the promo code TURKEY50 and knock 50% off your first payment on a monthly subscription. This includes SaberSim packages. You can't beat this deal, so make sure to sign up now. Our NBA and NFL content stayed hot this week. Reminder to sign up to our YouTube page to access all of our great free content streamed daily. In the NBA streets, Magic Muffin hit for 2K, while our guy Mangone continued to dominate Saturday NBA slates with a 9K winner. In NFL, I shipped 2 King of the Beach final seats, along with K. Fallick, who landed one too. RPS member DGAS33 will be joining us in San Diego after securing a seat of her own. Brandon Sports hit for 3K in NFL. Uncle Dunkle joined in with a 14K win. Statler shipped for 17K in NFL Showdown, and JSU joined him with a 17K Showdown win too. Congrats again to all our winners. If you want to be featured in our core report, drop your winning lineup in our Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. Once again, use the promo code TURKEY50 to knock 50% off your first payment on a monthly subscription. SaberSim add-on plans qualify for the discount too, so take advantage for a limited time while this deal lasts. While you're watching, hit that like button now. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure.
Your ass better call somebody.
It's me. It's that BIGT.
What is up, everybody? JJ back here with the crew on a magical Black Friday, talking a little college football. Mangone, BigT, Bruce. Guys, how was your Thanksgiving, man? You come off as a Thanksgiving guy, like a homebrewed Thanksgiving guy. How was your Thanksgiving?
I mean, Thanksgiving's fine. It was good. I was grinding out all the slates. I did end up going to a friend's house, and they had some good food. It was a good time. Played some pool as well. 2-0 on the pool table, so got the job done there. And yeah, just ready for some college football. Got NBA, got NFL. I mean, we got a lot going on here. This is always a good weekend, but it's also a grind too as well, and a fun time for sure.
Love it. Big T, big family guy. My man Grayson, the whole bit. How was your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was good. Ate a lot of food, watched football, a lot of drinks, maybe a gummy.
You got. I'm kind of very jealous. You have that like hungover look to you, and it just means you probably ripped it last night.
I did. I had a good evening. Had some fun.
Did Uncle T get an in-day upgrade to
the best part about Uncle T? So we literally had more food than you could imagine. Just everything, ham. I mean, everyone has this, but just food freaking everywhere. As much food as you could have, because there was probably 40, 50 people there, a lot of people there. Just more food than you can imagine. I was stuffed. All of a sudden, Uncle T gets there late, rested up. He said, "Could someone put a pizza in the oven for me?" I swear to God, put a pizza in the oven. There was food everywhere. He put a frozen pizza in the oven and didn't get kicked out of the house.
That's deplorable. From a knee house specifically, that's deplorable behavior.
Yeah, I'm normally an Uncle T guy, but man, Uncle T, you gotta go home after that.
The frozen pizza when you got to feast out is rough.
What a savage.
A rough scene.
How about you, Bruce? All good on the home front Thanksgiving? I mean, you in that massive house, I figure Maybe you had like a Webster Hall setting, maybe 100 people, body to body.
We had about 20 people here. It was pretty packed. Food was good.
Pretty packed. That's like one room in that house, 20 people.
Yeah, we pretty much stayed out in the living room. Ordered some food. Didn't even cook it, so it was great. Solid Thanksgiving. Going to my mom's tomorrow.
Ordering it is pretty clutch, by the way. I think
so
that's
better.
the move. Like, if it was ever based on me and people not wanting to cook, you can just order it and like it's really good still, and you don't have to do all the effort.
Oh yeah. Minimal effort is the way to go.
And it's still just as good. Like I don't understand. I guess they take pride in it, which is fine if they want to do it. But
I know that's what my dad did. I think he bought. We had 14 people over by him, 14 or 15. He bought like it was like $600 from Wegmans. It's all prepped. You just
everything.
throw it in the oven. Just throw it in everything in the oven, and it's good to go for everybody. Fantastic.
That's what I'm doing if I'm ever in charge. I'll tell you that much.
But awesome. Yeah, we got a cool little Friday slate. We obviously have this every year, right? The Black Friday list of college football games. So it's always fun. And it's good that they got basically every game, right? I don't think they missed any, which is good and bad because some of these games are dusty. But I'm happy that they're actually doing this. Like, I hate that they play Russian roulette with the games every Saturday, where some games they leave off. I don't even know the process to how they eliminate games. But it's good that you basically have every game on here. The slate's pretty spread out. You could go a few different directions, build up at the top and quarterback, pay up for running back. You could pay up for some receivers. So I think overall the slate's pretty good. And I'll be honest, pricing wise, I always like when I go into Saber Sim and nobody's projected more than like 4.2 for value. So you love to see that. There's not as many free squares today. But I still think there's some good value spots. So I think they did overall a decent job with pricing. But a good slate nonetheless to navigate through. So I guess without further ado, let's just get started. Baylor and Texas. Let me pull up my own, as Tony likes to call it, the yards per play spreadsheet. Let me pull up what the numbers say about this one. Hold, please. Loading.
Can't wait to hear what they say.
Hold for the number 6 college football player in the world.
Settle down over there, Mangone. So Texas projected 32 points, Baylor 23.5. I won't go through I'll only mention the yards per play stuff when I find
how many yards or where's our rank?
when I find it relevant. But for Tony, for this one game, I'll mention it. Texas yards per rush attempt 5.4. It's one of the better ones in D1. Yards per rush allowed defensively 3.4. That's also one of the best in D1. 7.5 yards per pass attempt and 6.5 yards per pass attempt given up. Baylor's a little worse defensively, but they're also a little worse offensively in a lot of these categories, which makes this line make a lot of sense. Now, I'll say this about our friend Bijan, and you guys aren't going to like this take. I basically never play him. So I do always have exposure in minor ways, but I'm always underweight on him. And yeah, last week that burned me for sure. No doubt. He absolutely mashed. He's not the type of player I pick my week in where I play him, week where I don't. And it's also hard for me too, because every week running backs there's just so much cheap value at the position every week. So he's usually a guy that I barely play. But yeah, last week, look, if you didn't have him, you were up Schitt's Creek for sure. This week, look, the pricing's a little tighter. It's definitely harder to get him in. The matchup's not nearly as good as it was last week. You still have Roshan out, right? Bruce?
I think so. Last I saw, yeah.
Which helps for sure. But in relation to this game, I'm finding it tough to land on any players. I mean, granted, the total's not terrible, but it is hard. I just feel like they finally priced a lot of these Texas players up. Worthy is a guy I was playing earlier in the year, but the dude just I don't know, he's kind of like fizzled. They're just maybe it's Ewers' his problem, because the dude's pretty dusty anyway. But on the Baylor side, look, I said it last week with Cameron. You can go back to him if you want. He's 4,200 this week. Don't mind him. I think he got there for us last week, right at 38. He wasn't great, but he didn't sting you with his 10 at 3,800. So yeah, I don't mind him at 42. But other than that, I don't have anybody listed. Yeah, nobody listed here else that I would play. Bruce, is there anything you like in this game?
As of 30 seconds ago, Roshan is in today.
It's back in.
Yeah, yes. I actually just looked and it was posted 30 seconds ago. So
yeah, so for me, just to be clear, for me, I'm going to have 0% of Robinson today. If he burns me, he burns me. I personally will not have a single share of Robinson. But sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough game for me. I've always respected Baylor's defense the last few years. I think they're still pretty good on both sides of the football, but mostly on the defensive side. It seems like a game that, Bijan could have a huge game, but he's priced up so much. Should keep his ownership down. So I think he's a tournament play today. Should be about 10 to 15% or so. Receiving wise, I always like Worthy. Just so much potential there to have a 30-point game or so. Sanders is priced low. Whittington's priced low. I like the passing game a little bit more than the running game today. Cameron, as you mentioned, 4,200 is a solid play as well. 21% target share over the past 4 weeks. So just seems like a good play there. But yeah, mainly staying away from this one. It's an early game. There's so many good plays late.
It's a good point with the attack in the passing game because the yards per play says to attack the Baylor pass defense today. Anyway, Tony, on your end, I'll tell you what, this type of spot feels like a good Robinson spot for you. He's going to be 10 to 15% owned. We know his upside. I know that I typically take my own stance on players like this in general, but he feels like a you play today. He's going to go under owned. He's obviously got the huge upside. He's a great running back. How are you approaching Robinson today, and even the game in general?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. He is expensive. There's other good plays. It is what makes him an option, though. That's why I would never fade him like you do, just because when he gets 50, your slate's over. Whereas if you play him, I don't know, you just have more options, I think. I do agree that you don't have to like lock him or anything, but I think it's wrong to full fade him just because of his upside at that price. And he's low owned too. So when he does bust, when he does bust out like the good way, you're just in such good shape. I mean, he's going to be like 10% owned. So everyone's fading him because of the price. I don't know. I tend to play him. I don't know if I can get there on like my main team today, but I'll definitely have a bunch. And as far as the rest of the game, though, I'm with you guys. You don't need it. I mean, you can play Worthy. You can play these guys if you want as fillers, but they don't stick out. I respect Baylor too. I probably respect them more than I should, honestly. They're not that great when you watch them, but in my head, I still feel like they slow it down a little bit and they play solid. I might just be wrong about that take. Texas looked good last week too, just stomping a hole in Kansas. I don't know. For me, just Bijan in this game and nothing else.
Yeah, Texas looks really good weekly, to be honest. And then we didn't really talk on the Baylor running back carousel. It's very annoying.
Every week too. Like, man, it's frustrating.
Very annoying. Yeah, it goes without saying. There's just no way you can predict who's going to get what. It's like randomly some guys now getting goal line touches the week before. It wasn't even in the game. Just very strange. And it looked like they had a really good stud back in Reese, and they just randomly stopped using him. But anyway, Mangone, anything you like in this game?
I mean, if you want to play Robinson, go for it. I'm not playing Robinson, so you can play him, not me. And
you guys are gonna make me play him the more you guys poo-poo him.
By the
end of the show, I'm gonna be jamming him in there.
I'm playing one team, Tony. So I just I can't get him on my one. It's just not gonna happen. I can only play 4 running backs max if I would like. So
I'll tell you this, Tony. My consistent logic weekly is when he's basically almost always 15 to 20% owned every week. And I'll just play the cheaper backs and I'll just always fade him and just hope he doesn't go for 50. And when he goes for 50, my slate's over. But the days he doesn't, I'm very well live. But
there's also a lot of good backs. There's a lot of good backs today, though.
There's always a lot of good.
There's a lot of good backs every week, man. To your point, though, Tony, when he's 10% owned, though, I probably should be playing him because there's that upside when he's 10% owned. Versus...
I mean, I agree with you too. Sometimes we get surprised too. Like he could come in higher or lower. Like there's nothing worse than when guys like that where they can break a slate. Like say he comes in like 30% somehow. I really don't want him. But when he comes in, like you said, 10%, like Quorum every week, which was super annoying that the dude got hurt last week when he was smashing, by the way. Super freaking annoying. But yeah, I mean, they can just break it. So when they're low owned, they're way better plays. Like if he was 30% today, like I would full fade too. There's just no reason to. Even if you played him like the field, like at 10 to 15, you play him on 1 of your 10 or something. I don't know. Just my opinion.
Yeah, no, it makes there's multiple ways to skin it. I think if he's a guy you've been playing all year long, I think there's no reason on this slate in particular you shouldn't play. You should play him. If you've been playing him all year, on a slate where he's likely going to be the lowest owned he's been in multiple weeks, you probably should play him today.
To your point, though, the reason we all love college, the four of us, is it's not like NFL. Even if he gets 50, you're still not dead. There's a lot of guys that crush in college, and you can get it from a lot of different angles. In the NFL, when a dude goes off, you're going to need him, I promise you. In college, that's not necessarily true. Just because he gets 50 at 9,300 doesn't mean, 50 might be an exaggeration.
Yeah, I mean, stop using the number 50 because people get technical.
The normal
we know
things like high 30s, like low 40s, that guys, you're not totally dead from that.
Yeah, if he was to get 38 today, I wouldn't feel terrible that I faded. Like, granted, it'd be a great number for him, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, you'd be happy to have him, but you're not dead if you faded him.
Exactly.
You'd still be happy to have it, though. Let's not make any mistake about it.
Definitely something I'd be interested in.
Doing jumping jacks with my wall if he had 40.
That's what we need to be clear about. That we aren't dead if we faded him, but we also would be very happy to have it.
All right, so next game up, Boise State, Utah State. Now I'm trying to find, because I'm trying to learn from you guys and get a little more familiar with SaberSim. They're showing green at 20% ownership. Like, to me, this is like as close to a lock that exists at quarterback on this slate. 6,600, dude's a dual threat. You can absolutely run all over Utah State. So yeah,
could be the chart. Update us.
Yep, the chart says Utah State 5.1 yards per carry given up on the ground. So that's
like
one of the worst in D1. We'll talk on a few other teams that are really bad as well, but 5.1 on the ground is absolutely.
Do you like him as a play over Cook?
Over Brady Cook? Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now, granted, I have some Cook, but this is the type of game that could set up. If we're talking on upside, it's not crazy to think that Boise goes for 5 touchdowns today. And it's not crazy to think that he could be all 5 of those touchdowns. I'm not saying he will, but I think that a lot of people, Helwani's going to be. I haven't looked at his ownership, but Helwani's a good play. I just feel like I just hate that they priced him this high. But I'm definitely going to have a piece of Helwani today. But the other thing is like they're throwing more now with Green. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. Wasn't this guy their quarterback part of last year too?
No, he played a little bit early season before they got rid of Bachmeier.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different Green on Boise then. I feel like there was a Green that was a dual threat for Boise that played a year or two ago. But I could be wrong. But either way, he's got the rushing upside. He's been proven to be a decent passer. Utah State's shown some improvements defensively in some areas, but definitely not against the run or against the ground. And Utah State plays super fast, should speed Boise up. I also did bet Boise State's team total over today. I think it was 34.5. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, big Green guy today. I'm not going to quote unquote lock him in because there's a lot of options, but assuming he's going to be 20% on, which is what the field looks like. Yeah, expect me to be 50, 60, maybe even more percent on Green today, just because of the matchup in the spot and the upside. Really, the upside is my big thing. I know you might look at his box scores and say like, oh, he's got 17, 20, 23, 30. But this is a guy that will take touches around the goal line, that will throw for another touchdown or two. So yeah, like the spot here. Utah State at like nothing on that side. I think you're completely point chasing if you take the running back there. Tyler Jr. I think he could have a decent game, but I think you're completely point chasing in a very difficult matchup for him. He could get there, but this is the type of guy I never play in this spot. So Tyler's a complete fade for me today. Mangone, game like this has some interesting pieces to it. What do you like in it?
Yeah, it wasn't one I was like dying to get to. For one, like I never play Helwani. I think he sucks. So like that's you do bring up a good point to the matchup though, right? If it's Rubio running back there, I'd maybe give Rubio a stab even today at that price tag. But yeah, I can't do it with Helwani. Like he's just not there's so many other running backs I'd rather play up in that range. So not as excited. I did overlook Taylor Green a little bit. That was a good point brought up by you. And I'm definitely thinking about him a little bit. Listen, if you have and Bruce has a lot of these in the playbook today, a lot of guys where he just adds in and sprinkles in the huge rushing ceiling or has rushing upside. Like I'm always in on the running quarterback. So maybe it's a good way for me to get exposure to this game. I also think in general, like the running back position, there is like there's one good value piece that we'll get to, but there are a lot of really good guys that I want to spend up on this slate. And I do think Taylor Green could fit the mold of maybe spending for one quarterback and then finding a mid-tier quarterback to go to. And I've been looking at that range in general. I mean, one of the guys is Emmanuel Jr., who we'll talk about a little later. And maybe this is like a safer version of him that I can maybe take a stab on that I'm considering now. So I'd say he's in play. I think Brian Cobb's is a really interesting option at 6.3K. I'd say at the receiver range, I noticed a lot of like the 5K receivers are like the value plays that people are going to be going to, where that kind of 6 and 7K range is going to kind of naturally become this like weird dead zone of a lot of really good players that you can roster that people might not be on. So overall, there's some good opportunities to take some stabs in this game at. Cobbs is one of them. And then I'd say you kind of convinced me a little bit on Jalen Green. But hey, that's just what happens when we do these shows. Sometimes we kind of change our opinions when we hear some different takes.
You guys do it for me all the time. So definitely open my eyes to things on each show. Tony, on your end, a game like this, anything you like, and what's your thoughts on Green today?
I mean, I like it when you guys are talking trash, not stroking each other the whole show because it's Thanksgiving. I mean, you guys are giving thanks for everything, the takes, you're soaking it in. I like more trash talk here.
You guys are amazing. Everything you guys do is amazing.
I like when my favorite part of college.
We could talk some trash. You're too small. You're the number 8 college football player in the world, and Dunkel's the number 6.
I was gonna add on to the stroking though and say my favorite part of these shows is when Dunkel gives these cheaper quarterbacks that I feel good about, and I love it because I wasn't gonna play him. I wasn't really considering him even, but then the chart says he's a good runner against this squad. I like the chart. I like winners. So 66
the chart approves.
Yeah, I mean the chart approves.
And we get to leverage shitty Holani, right? We get to literally leverage him.
Well, I was going to lead into that, so then I can talk trash because Holani. I mean, I think he could play both of these guys. I want to hear Bruce's take on the receivers because none of them really look that good. So it could be a spot where we just get the whole running game for that offense, and the chart says they give up 5.3 yards per play in the first quarter, so we're going to get off to a good start, and then I like that method. So I want to hear about the receivers from Bruce, but I'm in on the running game. Green, Holani, who's this other dude? Jainty at 5K maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Jainty. Bruce, obviously you got a lot of questions to answer here, but the talk on the split carry thing too with the running backs.
Yeah, so the Boise running backs are pretty much Holani 67% and Jainty 33%. So Holani definitely gets the bulk there. He starts. It looks like a good spot for him. You know, he is priced up, so the ownership should be a little bit lower. The wide receivers, when I looked at the stats for these teams, I think Boise is ranked number 1 in completion percentage against. So it's always tough to roster a wide receiver when you see that. I think they're allowing like 50%.
Boise's the best in the country against receiver.
Yeah, 50% completion percentage. And actually, Utah State is 5th in the country, allowing 53%. They've had a little bit softer schedule, so
they must have a full funnel then.
Yeah, so it's a little scary to play any.
Everything's pointing towards that ground game, Dunkel. The spreadsheet wins again.
Yeah, the spreadsheet rarely loses, Tony. It's very objective. The spreadsheet's very objective.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
A lot of them are down the field a little bit too, so it's a tough spot, but you know that's a pretty big number, and I like that. I think his Prize Picks projection was 4.5, so I jumped all over that. But yeah, the rest of the game I'm not interested in other than some running backs, maybe some Holani.
All right, so I guess we could move on. All right, so next game up, Cincy Tulane. Bruce, before I talk on this game, who are you seeing is going to be the starter, or who does it look like is going to be the starter for this game for Cincy?
Prater.
Okay, so it will be Prater. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to me, he's playable. I think you probably have better options, but what is he, 6K? Like, he's playable. Got some rushing upside. Easy to pair him with one of those two decent receivers in Scott and Tucker. Easy run back, right, with Spears. So yeah, I could see you going in the Cincinnati area, or I don't want to say mini stacking this game, if you will. I'm not really getting to anything specifically in this game outside of Spears. Spears is just super consistent. Like, the matchup's not great by any means. As Tony likes to know on the spreadsheet, Cincinnati's one of the better teams in D1 against the run, only giving up 3.4 yards per carry. So yeah, you'd figure Spears is going to be struggling here, but as we often say, when running backs are good, sometimes as it's complicated in relation to the spreadsheet, Spears is good. So, I'm not going to have as much Spears as I normally would because I do respect the Cincy run defense, but he's in play. They still keep him at this 6,300 area. So he's in play. As for the Cincinnati side, unless some of these running backs get ruled out, I'm probably going to avoid the running game on that end. So for me, yeah, if you're going to play this game, I wouldn't play pieces from it. I would play the Cincy quarterback with one of those receivers and then run back with Spears and call it a day. I can't play Pratt at this price at 7,300. Definitely has upside, but I'm good. So yeah, that's kind of how I see this game. Bruce, I'll kick it right back to you for this game. Anything you like here?
Yeah, I love Prater. He's a good runner. If you look at the UCF game for Tulane, Plumlee had his best game of the year. I think he had almost 200 yards rushing. And they're very similar in style there. They run the zone read a lot more with him, and yeah, it's a good spot for him, especially at that price. I think if you play anybody with him, it's probably Scott, but I mean, you don't have to play a receiver with him just because of his rushing ability. Running back, I think you can play Spears here. Cincy, I mean, middle of the road on the rushing defense, 22 points per game allowed to the running back spot. So it's not great, but Spears has the pass catching ability as well. So that's there. But mainly just sticking with Prater here. I just think it's a great spot for him. May bump up his projection just a little bit.
Fair enough. Tony, on your end, this game could be a U game. Actually, it's one of those unique games. Going to see low ownership, you'd think. But the other thing has some upside to it. Two good defenses, but also two offenses that have shown some bright spots as well. Anything you targeting here?
So, I mean, even being in Cincy, so this quarterback is the runner, right? The other guy was the dude that's terrible that can't move,
Yeah.
Bryant or whatever.
Yeah.
This guy finally won the job. Is Bryant out?
Yeah. Yep. He's out.
Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to play this guy, so this could be a good spot actually. The total's low, but everything I've heard, this dude's just a burner and can run. So, like we always say, 6K runner versus a somewhat bad defense, high projection. Definitely interested in the quarterback spot. I don't even know if I need to run a receiver. I get these projections look decent enough on Scott and Tucker. But I don't know if I even need – I don't know. It's a weird slate because there's some running quarterbacks like the last game we just talked about. This game, I like this guy. Could be an interesting build to get my boy Bijan in there with him. So I like the runner. Tulane side, I don't like anything there. So it would just be, yeah, I guess Prater and then Scott or Tucker if you want. But I think you could run him naked too.
What about you, Travis?
Yeah, so it is kind of lining up to be like a day where I don't know, I might just like play my running quarterbacks. I always love that, double running quarterbacks, and then just kind of figure out the rest with like just like some stacks. And you do game stacks with like some of these like higher priced quarterbacks that like maybe you just can't get to, but these like nice floors that these runners have just get the job done for you, and then they maybe hit that huge ceiling game. And Prater's definitely in the conversation for me, and it's mainly him. Like you can make a case for Spears. I just think there's so many running backs in that like mid-tier range that I'm just not going to get to a guy like Spears as a run back. And I love slates when I can just like kind of play running quarterbacks and then just like get in like the skill position players that I want. And it's definitely shaping it out to be one of those kind of slates for me. I was a little unsure of what I wanted to do with Prater kind of coming in, just because I think there's a lot of different other running options that we're going to get to. So overall, though, I think that Prater is someone, he's going to be chalky. He's probably going to be one of the higher owned quarterbacks on the slate, but that's okay. You can get different in other positions, right? There's some spots where you can eat the
Prater's going to be chalky?
I would assume so. What do you think, Bruce?
No, I think most are going to go with Cook unless something changes. Maybe Cook and a spin up.
Would they really go Cook over him? I mean, okay. I think Prater's. I guess for me, I thought Prater was way better than Cook.
We'll get to that game, but the spreadsheet loves the passing offense for Missouri.
Yeah.
All right, so we can move on. On that note, LOL. All right. So Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan. I will be honest, very ugly game. I feel like they priced everybody relatively good, unless you guys tell me something I might have missed. Evans is obviously a decent running back. Nichols is a decent running back. Just feel like their prices are, right. I don't know what to make of the Western Michigan game. Did they just like lean him back in, Bruce Nichols? Because this dude is getting 30 touches and then all of a sudden, poof, that ended.
Yeah, man, it was tough to watch. I had Nichols that night, kind of lower ownership, and he was blocking for the quarterback every play. Oh man, rough.
And they priced up all these Eastern Michigan receivers who really weren't even good plays when they were cheaper. Just an ugly game. I don't like anything. Again, unless you guys say otherwise, Mangone, I'll stick with you first. Anything you like here? There's nothing personally that I see. So maybe you guys, maybe I missed something.
In this game, I think Evans is in play. Nichols, yeah, it is weird. I saw the price at 6.5 and I was like, want to be interested, but I don't think I'm going to get the Nichols as much today. Evans, I think, is in play on EMU. Quarterback wise, this is where we have the rushing upside in Emmanuel Jr. Against Buffalo, he dropped a 24 rush attempts for 293 rushing yards. The upside's there, obviously. He also had 21 attempts against Western Michigan and then had 98 yards. I like running quarterbacks, right? Clearly, he's going to be a runner and he's going to run around there. He's not going to really throw it as much, but I'm interested in it. I want to kind of get more of Bruce's take on like the downside of him because I didn't know that much about him until I kind of
the QB carousel is the downside.
Okay, yeah, the QB carousel could be a disaster. Carousels are not fun. We talked about the Baylor one earlier. And then receiving wise, I know this is a slate. We got some names that we've played in the past, right? Like Tanner Canoe. I don't see it on this slate. Again, there's a lot of good 6K receivers in this range. He's not one of them for me that I'm looking to get to. And I really think it's mainly, I guess, just sticking with either the quarterbacks or the running backs in this game.
Yeah, fair enough. And Bruce, to Mangone's point, I'm interested in what you think because it looks like this team consistently gets 3 different quarterbacks in the game. What are your thoughts on obviously because this dude does have a lot of upside, as Mangone said, but if he's going to play 40% of the snaps, that's not ideal.
So last week, he got 31 snaps. Bauer, who's also a running quarterback, got 19, and then Daniel Richardson, who's the passing QB, got 1 snap. So looks like they're kind of leaning towards using both Emmanuel and Bauer. I think Emmanuel's the more explosive guy, but yeah, that definitely limits his upside if they're gonna, split their snaps like that. But yeah, he does have 300-yard upside. He's just such a good runner. But yeah, it's a little scary for sure. Just
also,
because...
Bruce, I just did a quick Twitter search on him, and again, like I don't know that much about him. I'm just trying to figure out what like the plan and how to attack him. Like he played the Western Michigan game in the snow, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Do you think that hurt him more or like because dude, these attempts are insane, right? 21, 24 rush attempts, like that's insane for a quarterback. And we've seen Justin Fields in college and in like NFL, right? The dude's getting like 18 attempts a week at this point. Like he just keeps breaking slates, right? It's just when you get those kind of rush attempts that are designed, like it's hard to argue with him, especially at a 6.5 price tag. But I guess the carousel
60-yard touchdown run and an 87-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, and it was glorious to watch.
Yes, but are you betting against the EMU defense? Like, are you?
No. I'm just saying that he has that type of house call upside. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were saying like the you're telling me regression is setting in, right? That's the regression.
No, you give it, but to your point, you give a guy that many touches, at some point he might break.
No way Mangone's playing this dude anyways.
I'm considering him. Yes, I am. Like that's
no chance you play him. There's no way. When we get to the lineup block, we've been stroking each other all show. I'll start the trade. There's no way you're playing this dude.
If I was MMEing,
I got one there. See, you circle back there. If I was playing,
but I'm not, and there's other people who are, and that's why I'm talking about it because I'm sitting here on a show trying to help people. Tony, I'm playing one team today. If I was playing more, I would have it in my pool.
Dunkel, did I not start this argument saying no way Mangone plays this guy, and then he said maybe he would?
There's a chance I might play him on my team. I don't know what my
no chance you're playing him.
Okay, we'll see.
This is not a Mangone play.
Well, a running quarterback is a Mangone play.
Mangone, stick it up his ass at 8% ownership. Stick it up his ass.
He's not playing him. There's no way.
Can't wait to play.
The only way he would do it is out of spite. Just put him on like a team just to say he played him.
I can't wait to jump in the chat and just all caps. Burn when he pulls one out for 80 yards.
There, he's loose again for 80.
Yeah.
All right, so Big T, pretty clear on your end. You don't like anything in this game?
I mean, I think you could play the running backs. So what were you guys saying about Nichols? What's the deal?
Yeah,
he stopped getting touches. I don't know what happened.
he just.
I mean, 2 and 3. There
would
was a gap in there. That's what confused me. So week 6 to 10, he didn't even play or something.
Yeah, he's been pretty banged up. So last week they lined him up in the backfield. I swear he almost played every play, and he just 90% snaps, and he just blocked for Emmanuel every down. So. Oh man!
But like week 10, he got 28 carries though. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's probably working his way back from injury, and they don't.
I just feel like no one's gonna play him, and I don't know.
The upside's definitely there, but I think it is correlated to when this other dude Emmanuel started playing and his
Mangone's boy.
Yeah. And
maybe I'll line him up against
Nichols, I'm
Mangone's
going to leverage you with her.
Mangone plays him, you play Nichols.
Yeah, I might shove Nichols right up his ass. You never know. But I don't know. Nothing. I don't love this game. I'll leave the 2 running backs in my pool, though. Sampson, I would never take Sampson really out of my pool either. I don't love him, but we'll get a little bit of him.
He's a dude. Yeah.
All right, so Toledo, Western Michigan, spreadsheet here loves the Toledo passing game. But it's tough, right? Because Finn, do we have any news on Finn, Bruce?
No, nothing on him yet. No.
So, I mean, Gleason's not a bad play, not a bad backup either, because he runs a ton. So, we just saw the 50-point upside last week. Bowling Green sucks, but it's there. So to me, Gleason's in play. It really becomes a problem of whether Finn plays or not. If Finn plays, I think you got to try to squeeze him in a lineup or two, just because of his upside and what he does for the receivers as well. It's also easy, right? You just run back with Crooms, or you could even, run back with Tyler. This is an interesting game. I think you could do yourself a favor and just get yourself one game stack of it, because it does have potential, but it also has potential to be quite dusty. The total's decent. It's about 55.5, which is around where most of these totals are. Pricing's not terrible in the game. And again, it's easy with the run back, especially if you stack the Toledo side. Can't really get to the Western Michigan passing side personally. But on the other end, you can. Big T, I'll kick it right back to you for this game. What do you see here?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to talk myself into the Toledo side a little bit. Like you said, if he's in, then I would definitely like it more. It's an early game, right? Noon? Or is it later?
Yeah, noon. It's noon.
Okay, so we should have the news in the Discord by the time it kicks off. I agree with Don. I don't think I'm going to play it unless he's in there. And even then, I don't totally love it, but I can make a case for it then. I'm not going to play anything, though, assuming this backup dude is in there.
Okay. And Bruce, what about you for this game? Some decent options.
Yeah. Western Michigan is actually not starting their normal guy, Bourget. He's sitting because of I guess they're going to try and redshirt him. They're going to play Salopek, who's terrible. So pretty much off the Western Michigan passing game. So other than that, I'll wait for Finn. Gleason looked solid last week. It was a softer matchup, but he did look like a good young quarterback there. So definitely interested in him if he goes. Toledo wide receivers, could see Newton pretty well owned here, just because target share is 27%, has 9 touchdowns this year, and Gleason looked to target him quite a bit last week too. Barkley's interesting at 3,100. He starts and transfer from TCU. Target share is not great, but he's almost minimum, so that's not a bad play. But yeah, other than that, just mainly the passing game and Gleason.
What's your take on what's the name? Blankumsey?
Yeah, he's been banged up a little bit. When he's played, he's looked good, but his snaps were limited last week. So just if he was 100% healthy, I'm all the way in. Or if we could somehow find that out, but Yeah, he's been kind of limited the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I'll still have to finalize some of my lineups, but I am finding me having one piece of this passing game in a lot of my lineups for Toledo. Mangone, what about you? Anything you like here?
Sorry, I just ventured off the Central Michigan 24/7 boards. I'm reading about my boy Bert because you guys are being very hurtful towards him, but I'll tune back in here. What do we got? Newton's a guy.
By the way, not to interject, I'm seeing people in the chat say Finn is out on DK. Like DK doesn't do that right.
They always do it from the previous week to confuse people.
Yeah, you can't.
They love that move.
You can't just assume unless you see a note under him that says he's out today for DK. That out tag is
I
just.
still wouldn't even trust. Oh, I guess if it literally says it in the description, but I still would just never trust those things ever.
We saw last week they had a guy tagged out that was starting, and
it's happened a ton of times on the weeknight slates. Yeah. Dude. I have to ask Bruce like twice a week, like, is this dude actually in?
Yeah. All right, sorry. Fire away.
No, I did it once this year to Bruce. I was like, hey, like, is this guy actually in it?
You just don't trust it when that thing is staring at you, saying out. It's like, I know he's in. Bruce said he's in, and it just stares at you though, saying out.
Yeah. I was like reading the playbook and I plugged something in on like a weekday and I was like, this guy's out. It's Bruce. Like, Bruce, you're right? This guy's in.
Yeah, they have Valladay as PTP right now, and he played last week and didn't get banged up. So yeah, I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, definitely helpful with the ownership. I do think Jerwan Newton is in play. He's someone that I'm looking at here on the Toledo side. I think he's interesting. I always like Crooms, but like, man, I don't know. That range has got a lot of good players. I think he has the upside there. I don't know. I think I just lean like Jake Bobo for like 300 cheaper if I had to pick, but I like Crooms. He's a solid play for sure here on this slate. And then you can make the case for Sean Tyler. Again, though, there's like other running backs I think I'm getting to, right? On my one lineup, Tony's, oh, you're not playing Sean Tyler. Yes, Tony, I won't be playing Sean Tyler. I'll be playing probably someone else there, but he's in play. Like, he's a good option. If you're playing MME, I would consider putting him in my pool. Or if you wanted to, I mean, this is an earlier game, and I know Bruce mentioned it a little bit before, but there's a lot of good later games, right? If you don't want to get too overexposed, there's some guys like there's no like must-haves. Like, we don't have this like underpriced receiver or underpriced running back from these like early games that you need to have, where you don't have to just like load the boat on like all these early games. And there are some later ones that we're going to get to that are in really good spots that can give you a little bit more flexibility.
One thing I want to note is it looks like, what do you got, 350 of you watching and 66 likes. I mean, what's going on? Like, I mean, you guys like, are you guys taken hostage, or are you guys like strapped to a chair with your hands tied behind your back? Or so? I like the video. I mean, let's at least get this to 150. I'll tell you this, it might be a bold ask, but we get this to 200 likes and I'll give out my core today. So little incentive for you guys. And maybe if we get to 250, the number 8 player in the world will give out his core in college football. We should all be so lucky. One thing I did forget to note, Mika Kelly for Toledo. I am finding myself landing him in my lineups. 3,800 should get about 15 touches today in that backfield for Toledo. And while the passing game makes more sense for Toledo today, he's just priced too cheap in a spot where he should get 15 touches. He starts. So yeah. Anyway, finding myself with Kelly at running back in quite a few lineups. All right. Moving on to the 3:00 games, right? Yep, 3:00 games. Let me see here. Sorry, we're moving a little slow on the DK. So Arizona State. So I will say this: it was very frustrating for me last week. I almost complete fade of Delora. Hated the matchup. And the dude backdoors like 2 rushing touchdowns in garbage time. Shouldn't even have been playing. They were down 5 touchdowns or something. But anyway, this week Delora. Actually, don't mind him this week. This is a better spot for this team. However, they just price him too high for me. Like, he's not a type of guy that should be priced this high, personally. But the running backs in this game, yes, they're going to see some severe ownership, but for the right reasons, right? I could be wrong. Bruce, you might know this. Arizona, are they the worst rushing defense in D1? Like, absolute worst? They might be.
Yeah. Their defensive line is 3.2 line yards, which is pretty close to the worst. It's gotta be up there as one of the worst.
They pop on the spreadsheet for you, Tony, in terrible rush defense. So the Arizona State, though, is not much better. I mean, they're giving up 5.1 yards on the ground as well per carry. The good thing is Arizona's a little more two-dimensional with their offense because they're pretty efficient passing. Arizona State, it's pretty easy, right? Like they funnel everything through Valladay. He's just expensive and he's going to be high owned. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, Valladay's got 35, 40 point upside. He catches passes. So I expect, what do you see in his ownership at, Bruce? 30%?
Yeah, 30, 35.
Makes sense. So yeah, Valladay's a good play, but he's going to be popular. So take that for what it's worth. Wiley, 6,300 pound for pound. I like him more at 6,300 than Valladay at 75. But again, you're not going to play Wiley if you're going to find yourself in Delora in the passing game. So, but too many advantages running the football for both teams. So yeah, that's going to be my target. I think these wide receivers for Arizona are all overpriced. Not to say one of them can't get there for you. I'd find it hard to imagine if you play Delora with two of these pass catchers that you'll get there, because it just rarely happens at this price point anyway. Big T, I'll start with you. This feels like kind of a you game where I feel like a lot of people are going to target the running backs. Maybe people won't touch the passing game as much. But how are you? What's the approach here?
Man, I learned my lesson again last week with this freaking Delora. Either last week or the week before. I can't remember now. But this dude, he kills me every time I play him. I know he wasn't terrible stats-wise, 29, 22 the last 2 weeks, but he was so bad in that I think it was Washington State, I think.
He's the new Brennan Armstrong? Is that what you're saying?
God, he's so bad. And it's tough because his receivers, like Dunkel just said, are overpriced, which makes it even harder. You just have so many decision points that just make it hard. It's really hard to find the winner with these guys. So I think you just take the easy path with the running backs. I think Valladay is just way better play than Wiley. Like it's only a 1,200 difference. Valladay, massive projection. Valladay's a lock for me. Wiley, I think you can do Wiley, 6,300. I think he's significantly worst play though. So if you think he's close, then you should definitely jam him. He's going to be like 5% owned, I bet. Wiley.
No, I want to be clear. Me saying I like him more at the price point is more to do with the ownership leverage. So everybody,
you got great leverage with that. I agree. Like if he's going to be so low owned too, where, I agree with that for sure.
I think you can treat him as a wide receiver too. He 14% target share last 4 weeks too. So you can just play him with Delora too, if you really think about it.
God, dude, don't talk about Delora.
Those
receivers are so expensive too. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, him and Singer got into it last week too. We're punching each other on the sideline. yeah.
I didn't know that part. I like that. I might play him again. He's got some heart.
I didn't like Delora last week at his projected ownership. This week he's going to come in lower. He has to. Like, what's he coming in at this week, Bruce?
It should be 20 to 25.
Oh my God, he's gonna be that high again? Yeah. I'm out.
His projection's just big, where he just always gets ownership. I don't know.
I'm out. I mean, granted, he could get there, but I was figuring he might be 10% because maybe that's the thing though. He should have let down people last week because he should have been benched. He had 4 picks in the first 3 quarters, and they still kept him in there and allowed him to get garbage time touchdowns for no reason. It's just anyway. Mangone, this game, you're a Delora guy. You've always been.
I'm a revenge guy, and he did not. I don't know what to tell you. You can't talk your talk like that and then not show up like that. I'm sorry. Like it's just no. I'm out on Delora. I'll play my boy Burt over him. I'll definitely say that. So that definitely would happen. This is a good game. Valladay is someone that I definitely am interested in. Gonna have him for probably on my team. Probably in my core as well. He's just such a good player.
I gave the guarantee earlier that Mangone won't play him. I'm giving another guarantee. I guarantee Mangone's playing Valladay. I'm going opposite field this time.
Yeah, Valladay is definitely going to be a good one for sure. I am curious to see what people do with like Charbonnet versus Valladay, right? Because like those two are they're not in the same range, but like they are like the two like standout guys like up at the top. I'd say that people are looking at. But I do think that Valladay is someone that you gotta like a lot. And then these receivers, like the big debate is like Cowing and Singer. One, I have to play the guessing game, and yes, I know they're cheaper than Downs, but I mean Josh Downs just feels like he just every week, you know what I mean? Just like Prince. Georgia Tech, sure, that game was a rough one, but the dude has monster scores at 8-1. So if it's between the Arizona receivers and Josh Downs, I just think I'm trying to find my way to Downs. And I get it. There's a salary cap and everything, but I'm going to try my best to try to get to Downs, or then maybe go down to some of these other receivers that are cheaper. These guys are good. Like you can certainly play them, but I don't think I'm going to get there as much to them because I think there's a lot of good 5K guys. There's also a lot of good 6K options, and Josh Downs at 8-1 just seems like better play than going some of these Arizona guys here.
Now, maybe
to Dunkel's point though, real quick, if I was like going to this game, I think it's just a game stack for sure. Where because the receivers, I don't know how to guess, so I would just play 2 of them with Delora, run Volladay, just full stack it up, and just hope it goes crazy, which it could in college, absolutely could.
Definitely could. I wish Delora was low. My problem is like I'm looking at SaberSim. Like, is this normal? Because I'm still new to this, so maybe it helps me. Maybe it helps people watching as well. New to looking at like projections like this. So I'm looking at this. I see, and look, I could be wrong. It looks like I see 20, 15 different quarterbacks that are all 18% or higher. How's that even possible?
Yeah.
I mean, they have viewers at you again. Maybe it's just me. I don't know how this stuff.
I don't think
works.
the ownerships are.
Yeah, I don't think the
Super
ownerships are updated.
Rock solid on there.
Yeah.
The issue.
The way I'm looking at this is like a lot of these guys at the top make sense. Like Finley makes sense, Cook, Millen, Plummer, Jeffrey. Like these guys make sense. And then I see Delora at 27. It doesn't because I guess I'm trying to figure out what his ownership could be. Because if his ownership is 10%, I feel like there's a really strong reason to play him today. If it's 25%, I want no part of it. So, well, either way, I guess that's the fun part of it, right? Trying to predict what that looks like.
I think it's going to still be like in the 15 to 20.
Yeah, it could become lower, especially with Prater. Name the starter too. A lot of people could go double cheap QBs too to get all the rest of the studs in there too. So,
well, speaking of that, we're in a good game with 2 good quarterbacks here, right? So Missouri, Arkansas. Now this game, looking at Missouri 26 implied total, Arkansas 29.5. A lot of goodies in this game, right? I'm finally glad they got Jefferson up over 7K, even 7.5, which makes him less likely a good play or a great play, if you will. Brady Cook. I'm sure people are going to play him today, and the main reason why is because Arkansas is just one of the worst defenses in football. They're definitely one of the worst defenses in football against the pass. I wish my guy Bannister didn't get hurt because he was seemingly going to be a good play. Bruce, you would likely know more. I believe Bannister hasn't practiced all week.
Yeah, I think I saw that. He's probable to play. I think, but I'll have to look again.
I just saw a tweet. Was it yesterday or the day before where the quarterback was almost speaking like they don't expect him to be a part of, like they're missing his wisdom on the field. They expect to miss his whatever. They didn't refer to him actually physical playing whatnot, but they referenced that they expect him to be on the sidelines.
Gotcha.
Which would be a shame because he was an easy play today. But I guess we'll have to wait till we find that out. But yeah, it seemed like he wasn't going to. And I hope it's just ruled out because if he's in, that's going to be annoying if he's like with the helmet on, not doing anything. But I guess time will tell. But it's easy to me if he doesn't play because you more or less just play either Lovett or Burden. I guess you can play them both together if you want. I know that these guys haven't done much, but remember their numbers are getting swayed because Bannister's had 2 big back-to-back weeks. It's not going to be in. So if he's not in anyway, it does open things up there. And let's be honest, like Schrader at 47, it's pretty good play. Like his numbers speak out pretty good too. Like as far as his rushing prop, his touchdown equity, like 4,700 is a good play. I don't know what his ownership's going to be, but good play. I guess I could look it up. I have it in front of me.
Most owned player on the slate, probably.
Schrader, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Okay, so they show it here. Looks like actually, there is no ownership numbers. Oh, maybe I was looking at the wrong. Maybe I was looking at projections. Sorry, guys, I was looking at projections before instead of ownership. What an idiot! You hate to see it.
I was like, why is every quarterback projected for 20 ownership?
I didn't even look. I just assumed that it was messed up.
like I said, guys, new world for me. If you think I'm lying, that should be a perfect example of how I'm not lying. New world for me. All right. So anyway, that's interesting that you have him as the highest because I considered him a good play. I don't know about highest owned.
I would just always, at least in my head, this is how my head works with ownerships. Like I just look at the projections and his price. There's just no way he's not the highest owned. His projection's huge for 4,700. I know that's not a science either. That's definitely not anything to it, but that's just how I do it personally.
Because it would make sense to me that Valladay is the highest owned running back on the slate.
I mean, everyone's going to play both of those guys for sure. And Charbonnet, like Mangone said, those are the three guys.
Yeah. So then for me, obviously, look, Schrader going to play, but you like the passing game as well for Missouri. I mean, Tony, you've mentioned this before. Like, you can just play Brady and Schrader together. They're cheap enough, and just get all their points. They're going to score today.
And you could even throw one of the receivers in, and you got the three of them where you got one from each position and kind of maximize.
And it makes you a little different because if people are optimizing, you're just not going to land many lineups where you have the running back, quarterback, and a receiver in the same.
This is why Dunkel does so good at college. Why he's the number 6, or what is he, Mangone now? Number 6 player in the world.
Number 6 player in the world.
Yeah, that's why he is though, because you have to be able to use optimizers against people these days. And I say it all the time, but these top players that say you have the best projections ever, you had perfect projections, whatever site you think has that. You still have to know what to do with them. You can't go in there and just click optimize, or you're not going to ship. You have to be able to put rules and stuff in place to get you different combinations and correlations. And Dunkel's done great, which is hand building. The good part about hand building, and why I'm still truly a hand builder at heart, and I'm better at it. That's why a lot of times with me, you see my like single entry team, my main team, do better than the other ones, because you can get these correlations the optimizer just can't account for like that. So that just another note that I pick up from Dunkel and all his greatness.
What happened to you not enjoying the knob slopping, Tony?
I said I wanted to be involved in it. What do you mean? I wanted in on the circle.
You're like, I'm getting jealous of the stroke fest.
I wanted in on the circle. What do you
Eiffel
mean?
Tower here.
Yeah. All right, so Schrader, obviously now knowing he's a little higher owned, I don't know what to do with it, to be honest, because I don't want Schrader to be the reason why I don't win money today, because I wasn't at the field with him. But yeah, I mean, it does make sense. He does project it over 4x at this price. But I'm probably going to try to get a little quote unquote cute with it, where I do combine Schrader with Cook in lineups.
What's the difference right now, Bruce? Like, what's his difference now from earlier in the year? Because he hasn't had any games. This is what I never understand about projections. Like, the dude's projected mid-20s. He's only got one game all year above 19. Like, what's the difference right now from before?
It's mainly the defense.
He just played one of the worst rushing defenses in college football. That's how he got to 20. Like Mexico State.
That's what I mean. So the projection feels too high to me, just straight eyeballing it.
Arkansas's rush defense is pretty bad as well. They're allowing 33 points per game to the running back spot, which would be tops on the slate easily. They've played some bad teams too that have been able to run the football on them.
Problem is, Bruce, they also have to be brutal against the pass. I mean, these numbers in terms of yards per pass attempt are brutal for them too. They have to be bad against quarterbacks and receivers too.
Yep. That is so true. When they went on the road to BYU, I think BYU did whatever they wanted to them, and BYU hasn't been great the rest of the year. So, it's just a tough spot for that defense. I think they get torched on the ground and through the air.
I might fade his ass.
Schrader. I mean, when you think
I
about
don't understand the projection. I get the matchups bad.
They do like to throw. Yeah, I mean, granted, he can, because you're right. I mean, he gotten over 20 once, and it was.
I don't understand how you can. I know the match. I get it, but like, I just don't get how you can project a guy higher than he's done all year, basically.
Yeah.
And then you factor in, like Dunkel says, like, he's going to be 60% owned, 70% owned in higher stakes. Like, if he gets, just say he hits his projection. Let's say he gets 20. Like, you're still not meant. You can have a different. It's back to our original talk where we were talking about Bijan. But say I play Bijan and he goes in the 40s, and I play some of these other guys we're talking about. Like, the 20 might not even matter.
Yeah, I think, and I guess the other thing is he does catch passes, so he's kind of game script independent in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to be at or below the field on Schrader today. Not because I don't think he's a good play. I just, at that ownership, unless they're a pure lock, like we talked on a few of these guys the weeks past, like unless they're like a pure lock, like I don't go with the field on these types of guys. But yeah, I'm going to have a few pieces of it for sure. Mangone, what are you doing with this game?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll take Schrader's 20 or whatever Tony was saying.
That's something we might be interested in.
I'm in. I'll take that, and I'll pair it up with Robinson for his 38 or 40 we talked about, and I'll just tell you to catch me.
Yeah, him and Valladay and the other two running backs we're going to.
I already know Mangone's three running backs. Like I for sure know his three.
Yeah, but where am I different, Tony? I mean, I have 6.
You'll find you'll do some. I'm not saying the other positions. I'm just saying I know your 3 running backs.
Oh yeah, I mean, right now those are definitely the 3 running backs for sure. I mean, but hey, I got guys to be different in other spots, and hey, I'm telling you, Burt fits right in there nicely like a glove. So we'll have to see. But Schrader's nice. I like Raheem Sanders a little bit. That is one, and I know you're just making fun of me for saying my running backs. Like what? I think you do look at the 2v2s of like, hey, like if I drop from Valladay to Sanders, would that be worth it? Or maybe it's like Charbonnet to Sanders. Does that $1,400 do anything for you? Or maybe it's getting off of Schrader and going up to Raheem Sanders, right? That's kind of something I think you can look at as an idea. So like Raheem Sanders, if for some reason like Valladay was just kicked off the slate right now, Sanders will just jump up as being like one of like the next man up at the running backs that people are looking at. So I don't completely want to ignore him here. I like Schrader. I don't like Cook as much as everyone else. I will look at some other quarterbacks in this range. There's some other ones up top that we haven't got to. There's some other ones down low that I'll discuss too later on, but no Cook for me. And I'm not dying to play a lot of these other receivers. I guess one 5K guy that you could make a case for on Missouri is Lovett. He does have the upside at the price. If you were going to game stack this up, like I could see like a KJ Jefferson with Sanders, you pair it up with Cook, you go Schrader and Lovett. That's 5 guys from that game, all relatively decent price tags all around. And you could get a pretty solid team and then kind of get some good other options on your team. So overall, I think this is a good game to get some exposure to. Schrader's the number 1 option. I'd say number 2 is them like Sanders and KJ Jefferson definitely. I didn't talk about him enough, but he's definitely someone to look at for sure here.
Yeah, for me personally, 0% Jefferson. Not a bad play, but 7,500. He's past the D mark for me, if you will. But however, Sanders, yeah, definitely gonna have Sanders. I'm probably gonna be overweight the field on Sanders. It's so annoying. This team gets inside the 5, and Jefferson just fucking takes every handoff inside the 5. So yeah, Sanders has got to score from outside the 5. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have Sanders and hope that Jefferson doesn't pilfer every single touchdown today. All right, so moving on. Another popular game, or at least should be. Anyway, North Carolina, NC State. North Carolina's offense has been practical sex all year long, led by Drake May, who's been incredible. But much like any Mac Brown-led team, they don't play defense. That makes things interesting for the NC State side. I'm kind of pissed off they priced these guys like this because they had no reason to outside of the good matchup against North Carolina. But NC State's an interesting play here because they never score, but they also never play a defense like this, not in the ACC anyway. So they're on the road, but of course the $4,500 quarterback will see ownership. Is he starting for sure, Bruce Finley?
Yes, he should. I mean, they haven't said for sure, but he played most of last game with Chambers good, so I'm thinking they go that way.
No, I'd be shocked if this dude was less than 20% owned today. You get that min-price quarterback in a game where his floor is probably.
No, he's definitely going to be lower.
He will be below it.
Going to be lower than 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
No one's playing this dude.
No one. Well, I'm considering it, but that's where Tony.
There we go.
He's in my
he's in the consideration bucket.
He's in the conversation bucket.
So I normally would never consider a guy like this in this spot. The reason I have him as an option myself is because the running backs to pay up for today seems like the way to go. Usually it's quarterbacks. I think there's a lot of randomness to that quarterback. And if I can get my 15 or 20 from a $4,500 quarterback, I'd feel good because I can play my bigger running backs and even a good receiver. It's just there's not as much of the quote outside of like a Schrader or some of the other guys we mentioned at running back. Just not a whole lot of the cheap value at running back, and usually you have it. And then receiver is a little bit of a shit show in terms of cheap punts, if you will. So yeah, because of that, in terms of lineup construction, I do think he makes sense to slot in some of your builds. But outside of that, obviously North Carolina side, Drake May's always a good play. NC State's a super good defense as it relates to the ACC though. Not as good as we talk on Illinois from the Big Ten, not like that good, but they're good. They're definitely respectable. You can pass on them though, but not ideal, speaking of teams you can pass on, North Carolina you can throw all over. This is one of the reasons why he would seem like a good play in Finley. It's just hard to pair him, right? NC State runs this like merry-go-round of wide receivers. So yeah, I think there's a few different ways you can go. Obviously, Downs will be popular. He always is, and Nesbitt, I guess. On the North Carolina side, I don't know if Green's going to play, but whenever I play Green, the dude always ass bangs me. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like whenever I play him, I always got my head up my ass. Other than that, though, Big T, I'll start with you. This seems to be a game that's likely to be pretty popular, I would think, at least on the North Carolina side. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, it's interesting because some of these Carolina games have had, I know they usually play on the night slate. They had like a friggin' 80 total last week or the week before. So seeing only 56 total is alarming. One of the things I like to do when I first look at a slate is look at the teams and kind of just do it old school and see what I think the total is going to be. And this one, just eyeballing it, I thought 65, I don't know, in that range. Again, it's just a feel, nothing to it. But when I saw 56, that sent off alarm bells to me. And I know NC State's defense is pretty decent. So I don't think I'm going to play Carolina in this spot with the lower total. Obviously, I'm leaving Downs in my player pool. I'm not taking him out, but I'm not going to play May this week. I like the running backs like you guys talked about too, the spend up running backs. So I don't want to spend $9K on Drake May in a tougher spot. So I'll just get my exposure to them through Downs. I do agree, though, about the quarterbacks because I would love to spend up. Just talking my roster construction through, if I faded that cheap running back, play all the stud running backs up high and just get all that upside. Man, Finley's bad, though. I watched some of that game last week. I think it was last week versus Louisville. Was that right?
Yeah.
He was so bad. Like, I think this guy is terrible. But to Dunkel's point, he's 4,500. It's a different roster construction. Can he outscore the 4,700 running back? I think he could. I mean, there's a path where he could do that, and then you spend up at running back. All those guys go off. It's just a different roster construction. Do I like Finley? No, but can he outscore that running back is the question for me because it gets you just a different construction altogether. And I could do it. I mean, these receivers too, Thomas and Darryl Jones, look at least playable with them. I mean, not good plays, but just straight tournament plays where you could throw them in the mix. I don't know. I mean, I don't love this game, though, overall.
Yeah, I think if it's Finley, to me, I would probably pair Jones. Thomas makes sense. So, like, I know he had the bad game last game, but, like, the dude gets, like, all the what's his target? His target share has got to be insane, Bruce.
Who's?
Thomas for North Carolina.
Thomas, Thomas, 27% last 4.
Yeah, it's got to be high. And he did nothing against Louisville. Louisville's a good, respectable defense, though. But, Bruce, what about you? Obviously, Drake May gets a lot of accolades on slates like this, but what are you doing? He's going to see ownership every slate he's on.
Yeah, this is a big rivalry game. I thought May looked horrible last week against Georgia Tech, which should have been a game he just smashed, and he just did nothing. I think he had 13 rush yards, which is crazy. I'm pretty much leaning towards playing DTR instead of May. I just think that's a better play against a bad Cal defense. We'll get to that game, of course, but. Yeah, Finley's okay. He's been the scout team quarterback all year, so he's been playing against the ones, I guess. So you have that going for you. He did look bad last week. I think my favorite play in this game is Michael Allen, the running back for North Carolina State. He's a freshman. Looked great late against that Louisville defense. Caught us like a wheel route and scored. He's going to be a good one. I think they're kind of turning the keys over to the young guys, so he's not a bad play. Downs, I think he's just a good running back for sure. Receivers, I'm mainly staying away from. You could make a case for like Blackwell at 3,600. If Green misses again, he got 92% of the snaps last week, so. He's not horrible. Downs, of course, is in play, especially if Green's out. He's going to see most of the targets. But yeah, North Carolina State's always a tough team to play any receivers from.
Blackwell seeing the field that much, though, Jesus, that's you could accidentally get there.
Yeah.
Travis, ever get your take on this game?
No, you haven't. We're also getting closer towards that time of the show where you start getting mad at me because the time is ticking. So I'm gonna.
I feel like we're doing good though. 3 games left, 15 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just checking. I just want to check if I can give enough takes or if I need to make it short and sweet. But Josh Downs is in play at 8-1. Like him, but man, like there are some good receivers. Like I said, this like I kind of am liking this like mid-range build a bit more. The more I've kind of like dug in and like we're talking about it, like Downs at 8-1, he's good, but like kind of like Bijan, like Tony said, like he doesn't have to put up a monster score. I do like him. If I have the money, he's my top receiver to spend up on and go grab. But yeah, I think he's in play. I think Finley is interesting at 4 or 5 just because what he can do for your full lineup. I always like those cheap 4 or 5 quarterbacks and what they can do. It just gives you all these studs throughout your lineup. And you can just litter it with like Josh Downs and Bijan Robinson, like, and just keep loading up on these guys. So I think it's
time for me to hit the button on Travis, Big T. I think you're going to enjoy this. Mangone has said all show how he loves the 6K range with wide receivers, yet he has not mentioned a single 6K wide receiver he likes all show.
Yes, I have. What are you talking about?
Fire away, Travis.
I don't know, Dongle.
I talked about Brian Cobbs for one. He was one that we discussed, right? Bobo, we haven't got to. I talked about Crumbs for sure. Talked about him. He's a good one. The 5K range too. The 6 and 5K range is so many guys. Have we got the Cal yet? Where there's all the 5K receivers that we're going to discuss?
You can mention 100 guys in the Cal game.
Have we talked about Torrey Horton yet? Have we gotten to that game yet, Dunkel?
Torrey Holt's back. I missed Torrey Holt.
Yeah. Have we talked about it yet?
We're talking NC State.
I have one job on this show. And that's to bring out back against the wall, man.
We're so old. Yeah. Torrey Holt might have a kid there. Is it his kid?
I will say, by the way, speaking of kids, Burt Emanuel Jr., he's the son of Burt Emanuel, who played in the 90s and early
breaking
2000s.
news.
This is getting it on the blog. Yeah,
get him with the breaking news.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bruce, listen. I don't grind all the max slates, okay? I got a lot of
Oh, that's my favorite part of the show this whole year is Bruce getting the dig in. Bruce never gets the digs in. Breaking news.
It's okay, Bruce. I'm gonna remember that for the slab. Okay, I'm remembering that one for the slab.
I'm ready.
But yeah, man,
my favorite part about Bruce is like in the chat, he's like the most creative. He makes fun of everything. And then on the show, he never makes fun of anybody till right there. We need to get the writing part of Bruce out in the shows.
It's gonna take maybe another year or so. Then
all right,
work some of it in.
No, we can. Mango, any final notes on North Carolina from you?
No, I'm saving all my notes for these 6K receivers that are coming up.
Great. Great. Colorado State, New Mexico. Mangone loves the receiver in here. The total's 32 of the game.
The total's 32.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
No, I'm just kidding. So Horton's interesting that you brought him up because I do have pieces of Horton. I wouldn't consider him like a guy I'm loving to go to, but yeah, he's got a ton of upside. Just look at his game logs. I mean, the dude obviously gets over targeted. This game is just yikes ugly. Like, I don't know. You got two of like the worst offenses in D1 going head to head. And yeah, they don't play great defense either, but man, this game is just going to slug. So Mangone, I'll actually start with you considering you do like your boy Horton. I don't mind him personally. Even Ross Simmons, I'd argue a 4-3, maybe pound for pound, maybe a better spot, but you like Horton. What else you like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, the dude's got a ton of upside, right? I mean, he put up a 48 piece once, and we got Peter Jennings, CSU Ram in the chat, like, it's one of his alums. So yeah, we got to root on Mr. Horton here. He's mainly the guy, right? I'm not loading the boat on this game. You're not going to see a stack of CSU in New Mexico for me, but I do think that you have to obviously put Horton in play as a really contrarian guy at 6.1K that no one's just going to have. So the upside that he has shown. I mean, the dude dropped over 30 in a game. The final score was 14-13. I mean, I'm not saying that this guy is someone that we need to be rostering on our lineups, but MME wise, and even in my own lineup, I'm going to look at it and consider it. I don't know if I'm going to get there with that range. It just depends which guys I kind of fall on and how I can make all the puzzle pieces fit. But if he's the last guy in, he's a nice contrarian piece that's not going to really be owned.
Fair enough. Big T. Horton does feel like it could be a U type of play. People aren't going to play him because of the low total. But
I'm going to have to get it back. Every time the dustiest spot comes up, he's like, this does feel like a Big T type of spot. The whole day, every time the dustiest spot. But I thought you were joking about the 32 total. I pulled it up. I don't think I've seen a college total at 36 in a minute. That is way down there. I honestly thought you meant like a team total at first, and then
somehow less than Nebraska, Iowa.
But that's part of the reason. I know it was troll Mangone, but that's part of the reason why there's just no way optimizers get this guy in there for you. But the upside's definitely there. Like,
it still comes to the same point though. Like, we make it in NBA a lot of it's one of the reasons in NBA I don't look at totals as much as other people. It's just usage. So even if they don't score, if he gets a bunch of work, breaks one, I mean, I agree with you guys. Totals aren't everything. Totals are everything as far as jamming a bunch of pieces in there, of course. I mean, you're not going to get friggin' multiple pieces. I mean, you look at the projections on New Mexico, it's embarrassing. Like, there's not even anything you can click. So yeah, Horton, you can definitely put in there. I kind of like it even. I'm with you guys. No one's going to really play him. He gets the volume. I don't know if he houses one, you're probably good because the volume is going to get you there the rest of the way, and the price tag's affordable.
And you got to know, CSU Ram, there's just not a chance he's not sticking Horton in one lineup. But anyway,
he's definitely going to have him.
Bruce, on your end, what do you think of Horton? And obviously we can move on to the next game.
Yeah, I think Horton's a great play. Just, he's the PPR stud there for them. So I like him. One guy that we haven't mentioned is Christian Washington for New Mexico. 76% of the snaps last week. And he's a stud freshman running back for them. I don't think CSU's rush defense is all that great. So I think he's in play if you need like a punt running back. I'm adding him to the playbook right now.
I gotta respect Bruce. Like Bruce stays true to the snap share percentages and numbers. Like, I clicked this guy's name. It's 2.9, 2.4, 1.8, 1. Yeah. I respect it. I mean, he's got a
These are the plays that I know everyone's strengths. That's what one of the things I like about the content. Bruce is good with these cheapies. Whenever he throws the random cheapies out, I always take note because
who is this guy? I can't even find him. What's his?
He's 3,100. He's the running back.
What's his name? You said
Christian Washington.
I mean, he's got to combine like 7 points the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. If you look,
taking notes though.
His big game was against New Mexico State. He had a 20 burger for him. I guess we can call it a burger.
He had 9 catches in that game.
Bruce, is this your redemption on the revenge, because now he's in revenge week, right? It's the rivalry week, so now he's gonna have a big one against CSU.
Yeah, I think he's a good running back. They've been playing Nathaniel Jones, and they kind of turned the page last week too.
Uncle took the hat off.
Oh man, it was so disrespectful. He had to take the hat off.
I can't stare at the game logs. Like, I was staring at the game logs. I read 2.9, 2.4, 1.8, and I hear Bruce say, "I think he's a real good player."
He is, man. He's a good young running back.
The best part is I'm gonna play him on a team now just because of Bruce.
I
trust the cheapies.
I mean, if you're going to play Horton and you're going to run back with him at that point, just play the quarterback as well.
Stack it up by the time we're done with it.
I have 35 total. I'm in.
Uncle thought the show was going to breeze by, and now we're going to break down Iowa and Nebraska for like 10 minutes.
I've had enough of this 32.
You guys got me dying.
No, that's honestly.
He's definitely crushed now too. There's no way he does it.
First carry, 80-yard house call. Iowa, Nebraska, another game figures to be relatively quick. A super low total too. I think this is 38. The difference with this game is I don't know anybody you can comfortably play here. Like I maybe the Iowa running backs because they're cheap, but nobody on Nebraska. I know Palmer landed in the box twice last week, but that was
who got me back on him. Was it Bruce last week? Yeah. I was down and out on him and got me back in, baby.
But yeah, I personally can't play Palmer this week. But Big T, your boy Palmer, anything in this game on the Iowa side?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can play Nick Lachey, our boy. You guys remember him, old Nick Lachey?
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, 3,200. I think Laporta is out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, it's a super low total. You don't want much. I don't love this dude, but he's 3,200 and he looks like the number one receiver for me. So Bruce can probably talk more on him, but I think he has to at least be in the player pool at 3,200.
Yeah, he's going to be he's definitely going to see some targets today. Soak up all the Laporta usage there. Laporta was their number one guy. You can also play like a guy like Reganey, Nico Reganey, I guess is the pronunciation.
God, I remember that guy.
Yeah, he's a white for
I'd
sure.
rather just play Nick Lachey.
Yeah, both whites. It's Iowa, so
Both whites.
yeah, they're both solid plays. Reganey's.
Do they have anything other than whites?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
You could possibly play on the Nebraska side, Oliver Martin in a revenge spot.
Ooh,
yeah.
Mangone.
There you go.
Travis.
Sounds like something I'm interested in.
Travis.
Yeah, the Iowa running back spot is tough. All 30% snaps or so. But Caleb Johnson, 3,300 starts, has 5 touchdowns this year. He's probably in play if you need another cheapie there, low total. But yeah, other than that, I don't want any part of this game.
Mango, what about you?
Yeah, I've built our team that if people want to play, they're happy to jump in on. It's a game stack of New Mexico, Colorado State, and Nebraska and Iowa. You get Petrus, you get the Revenge Martin, you get Trey Palmer at 6'5", another guy who has a ton of upside, and then you get Washington and Horton, and you have all the salary for your boy Bijan, and that's an absolute joke. Please do not play that team unless you like burning money. But hey, you got 8-5 for your last 3 spots, Uncle. So if you want to load the boat on Bijan, there you go. But this is not really a game I'm dying to get to. Obviously, I do think Tony brought a good point with Mr. Nick Lachey. I think Luke is definitely someone you can get to. One of the debates that you might have is, do you punt with him or do you punt with Maven Anderson in the next game that we're going to get to? That's going to be an interesting decision point that you might have. And if you don't want to play 2 California receivers, which I think a lot of people are already going to play one on most of their teams or on a lot of teams, I think that you can make that pivot instead of going 2 of them. You can just go from Maven to Mr. Lachey, and I think that could work out for you.
All right. Big T, do you have any last minute comments on this?
Just Nick Lachey.
Okay, cool. You guys opened my eyes to that too. I didn't even realize him. All right, so Cal UCLA. Obviously game figures to be popular. The fact that it's the late hammer will probably make it even slightly more popular. DTR. I'm sure is going to see decent ownership. Good spot. Obviously, quarterbacks like this on the road, I don't love personally, but we know this dude's upside's the moon. I do personally think it's impossible to play these two together. So whatever lineups you're doing, you just split them, Charbonnet, and I know it seems silly, like why would you start? But yeah, you can get all their points today if you do it that way, and their UCLA is likely going to go for 35 at least today. But Cal plays a little slower, right? On the other end, I wish Plummer was a little cheaper because I likely would have just played every lineup with Green and Plummer today if he was a little cheaper. But he's not, so it does complicate it a bit for me. The good part with Cal is their receiving options are pretty obvious. Like everything goes to Hunter and Sturdivant. I know last week it felt like a flash in the pan for one of the Cal receivers. Maybe it was one you were referencing. Was it Anderson?
Yeah, Maven Anderson. Yeah.
Was that like because he didn't do anything the week before, and then he had 19 the week before that? Like, I assume he's a starter.
Yeah, he starts. He's the slot guy. It just depends on if he breaks one, if he has a huge game, but he's seeing a pretty good target share still.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, I do like Plummer today, so I'm definitely going to have him, and I'll likely either pair him with both Sturdivant and Hunter or just mix and match between them because it's an easy run back with Charbonnet as well. So, yeah, I'm going to have that stack a few times. Mangone, I'll start with you. I know you have a lot you like in this game, so do tell.
Yeah, there's a lot to like here. Jake Bobo, obviously a pretty good play. Like him, I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership at 6'6". I think he's a good one that we can go to. Obviously, these Cal receivers, like how to handle them, how many to put on your teams. UCLA has a really bad pass defense. Hunter is one of the guys, obviously, at 5'5". Then you can go to, I'm going to mess up his name, but I think it's Michael Sturdivant. He's another good one at 5'3". And then Maven Anderson. I mean, those guys are like going to be some of the ones that I'm mixing throughout my lineups. Really like them. I think they're in play. Charbonnet, definitely someone that I am looking at playing today. I think he's going to be one of the better running backs on this slate. So like some Charbonnet exposure. I don't know if I'm going to get the Thompson Robinson just because the more I looked at going up to the top, like I just don't think it's going to happen for me. I think I'm going to live more in these mid-tier range for my quarterback. So I think he's a good play, but not someone I'm like dying to get to here on this slate. And then I know I talked about like in the mid-range quarterbacks, but I can play all these running quarterbacks, or I can play, Mr. Plummer, who I said to Bruce, I said, this is basically Jared Goff, right? And he said, yes. So I'm not down to roster Jared Goff. I will look to go to other places instead of him.
All right, cool. And then, Tony, on your end, game like this, what are we doing with it?
You didn't give your line. It must mean it's a good game.
I didn't.
If I'm not interested,
I use that when I think I'm right. I don't know. I don't know your take on this game. I really don't.
I hate Cal games. I just don't play them that much. They seem like they play ugly to me. I do like the receivers though. Like you guys said, I'm definitely not playing Plummer. Plummer is cheeks, but the receivers are good. Hunter. I mean, all these guys are priced so cheap. 55, 53, 33. I like all three of them. UCLA, I'm just going to choose DTR or Charbonnet. I'm not playing these dust balls like Mangone playing Bobo or whatever his boy is.
But just so you know, last time you made fun of Bobo, it was in the Oregon game, and he owned you. I just want to call that out. He owned you. You said he was a dusty play, and he dropped 27.1, Dunk. 27.1, Tony. Anthony Wayne.
Where's Bobo? Let me pull his. Sorry.
Yeah, against Oregon. He dropped 27.1.
Was that his only good game of the year?
No, he's got a 35.2 in there.
I mean, he went last 4, 11, 11.
I mean, how can he not do good against Cal? Cal's ranking is like they're bottom 10 against Pasty.
Hold on a second. Dunkel, we need a clarification here. Where do they rank on the cheat?
Which specific ranks for what?
Bobo. Where's Bobo in the point in the plays per dollar ranking?
UCLA pass game today does look promising for sure. Cal's pretty good against the run. They are definitely well below average against the pass.
Can DTR still not throw?
What does the Cal UCLA pass defense numbers look like? Because I remember them being pretty bad.
They're bad. I told you they're
7.4 yards per pass attempt allowed.
They've given up 292.3 yards on the season.
To Mangone.
UCLA, that's so at 7.4. That puts them, I believe, more towards the like right below the middle of the pack.
So UCLA last 4 games has allowed a 77% completion percentage. That's got to be the worst. It's got to be close to the worst.
So why can't you play the California receivers and run it back with Bobo, who's going to be under 10%?
Bobo is cheeks.
It is the worst.
Your
over
cheeks,
the last
Anthony.
4 games.
Get him in there. I want
Your
you to
cheeks.
play him.
Your cheeks, Anthony.
I am not playing Bobo. I want that to be noted.
I want to play Bobo and Emmanuel Jr. so bad right now.
Get them both in there. Bring it. I like it. I'm all about the trash
Tony has
talk.
me so tilted right now. He's such a good play. Like you're completely wrong.
Get him in there then.
Yeah, it's a bad take.
It's like well, he's bad. Let the boy watch. You gotta let him watch.
It's a bad take.
All right. So Bruce, I don't think we've gotten direct notes from you on this game. What do you like? What do you not like in this game?
I definitely am more bullish on Ott today than most places. I think he's one of the better running backs in the country, even though he's young. Got 85% of the snaps last week, and UCLA is kind of, they're in a weird spot where they just lost to USC. It's a tough fought one, then they go on the road here. So I kind of like Ott a little bit more. Nice price there, 6,200 as well. Should see most of the snaps. Can catch the ball. I think he has a 10% target share as well. So I think that's a kind of under-owned play there. Maven Anderson, 3,300 just is one of the better values on the slate. I can see Hunter's ownership crazy just because he's in there every snap. Target shares at 21%. We talked about the UCLA pass defense. So any of these 3 stud Cal receivers is in play for me. You can pair him up with Plummer, even though he's terrible. UCLA has been just as bad. You can run Bobo back as well. You can possibly
don't say it just to make Mangone happy after you called him out last game. You don't need to circle back.
I love Bobo. So
you do love Bobo.
I think he's a great play today.
Thank you.
What did you say to Mangone? I got to remember that one. What did he say, Dunkel?
I just said breaking news when you
said breaking news.
Emmanuel Jr. is the son of Bobo.
That was a good one. I got to put that in my arsenal. Breaking news.
That's hurtful, Bruce. That's very hurtful.
Sorry, Mangone.
When I make my fifth 3-pointer on you on the slab, and
Oh,
I can't believe you
there
made
we
another
go.
one. I'm
Now,
going to say
now we
breaking
circle
news.
back. I like
Breaking
that.
news, Bruce. I made it
Oh,
again.
breaking news!
He's
Another
already
3.
ready. He's already ready. All right. I like to hear that.
All right, so we got to over 150, so I will give my core, and then we'll get the hell out of here. The core I have today is a very cheap.
Dunkel, before you give your core,
Yeah, fire away.
because I think someone VIP posted in the chat, and I got a few texts during the show. I don't think Boise's safe anymore. They got that title game locked up. I don't think these dudes are going to play all game. So if you're going to core that dude, I would be a little cautious.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. So
I didn't either until I got a bunch of different I think it's pretty, not for sure, obviously, but they're not playing for anything, and they might just not play that much. So
yeah, you could see Gene T maybe getting some more carries over Helani too. So maybe that makes him
Dunkel, there's a pivot. There's a pivot off your quarterback. His name's Emmanuel Jr.
What if Dunkel came back and cored him?
Quick pivot over to Emmanuel Jr. You don't have to mess with your lineups that much. And if you had one of those teams that you're like, man, I just needed $100, you got 100 now.
Wow, and Joe Ruff in the chat says he would put his life savings on Bruce versus Mangone on the slab. It's coming from Mangone in the chat.
That's listen, Joe Ruff, wherever you're at, hit me up in the Discord and we'll talk, because I'll certainly take the action in March.
Hear that, Bruce?
Yeah, guess I better hit the hardwood a little bit harder.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of videos coming from that gym from you.
Yeah.
Sure, we haven't seen a Bruce shooting video in a minute.
Yeah, I need to give some more pointers so you can watch a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
That's fine. That's what I wanted to hear. I'm going to the gym right after. Once lock happens, now I'm definitely going to the gym.
Let's go.
All right. So anyway, yes, I apologize. I will have 4 pieces of my core because now I'm definitely hesitant on playing as much of the quarterback. So yeah, for me, stacking big running back. So Valadez and Charbonnet at running back, Hunter for Cali on a bit of a mini run back, Luke Lachey, or as we call him, Nick Lachey, 3,200. I just feel like, you guys mentioned it. There's just not a lot of cheap punt receivers. It's like the dude is, what's his floor? 8-7 today in a good matchup, in a game that figures the slug, where you figure a tight end would be more involved than he normally would. So yeah, it's 4 of the 5. I don't have the 5th, and I don't want to lie to you guys and say that I have it, because I don't. I'm gonna have to spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure things out. I have to rework quite a few lineups now with this hesitation for Boise. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. It's a very cheap option, so you can build basically any way you want around them if it works out for you. But other than that, as always, folks, gamble responsibly, stay safe. Thanks for joining us. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m., running it a little faster with a 14-game slate. So, Mangone, bring your A game. Other than that, gamble responsibly, stay safe. And yes, run pure. Helmet, let's get out of here.